Hey there, sweet friends. I hope you are all well. Welcome or welcome back if you are new. I'm a couple days late on my video this week, and I am very sorry about that, but I am excited to be here sharing with you these projects created with my die sets that I got from Scrap Diva Designs. And so we do have a sweet little slimline card here with a mitten banner, and I also have a project share at the end. This is going to be a standard 6x6 card, and I'm using the oven mitt as an oven mitt for this card, and so I think this is also very sweet. This is a great way to use up papers from your stash as well as stickers from those collections that sometimes get tucked away and forgotten about, and so I want to make sure that we got them out and use them to decorate our cards. So if that sounds good to you, then stick around and we will make it together. So for today we're going to be working with a lot of papers from my stash, and so I think this is a really ideal type of card making where you can go back through those collections that you've been using and then pull the papers that still coordinate even if you don't have the full collection, and that way you'll be able to get a lot more life out of your previously loved collections. And I'm also going to be using some sticker stacks, and I create these with the 12x12 collection stickers, and so I will just make arrangements with these to create either focal images or to enhance the focal images, which we're going to create today with those die cuts. And so I'm also going to show you those dies from Scrap Diva Designs. And so for today's project, I'm going to be using the flowers from the Santa Boot mini album. I'm going to be using the mitt from the oven mitt set, and that would be the smallest one for the slimline card. And then later on, I'll show you another card I created with the larger die. And I'm also going to be using those stacked bows to get a little bit of extra detail. And then of course, I will also be incorporating some of these really sweet little snowflakes. And so not just as a bow, but these are going to be added as extra details for my card. This is going to be an easel card, and when it's finished, I want to be able to present it so that the back of it sticks up and will rest on the bottom. And so I'm going to start with a piece of cardstock. This is going to be 9 inches high by 12 inches wide, scored at 4 and also 8. And so when I'm working along, I want to remember what will be showing when this is standing up. And so this makes a really lovely display. And so what I want to do is decorate this base piece first, just because it's easier to do that without all those dimensional details added to the top. And basically what I want to do is cover this with my cardstock and my pattern paper. And so my cardstock is going to be 3 7/8 of an inch high and 8 7/8 of an inch wide. And the pattern paper is going to be 3 3/4 high by 8 3/4 wide. And so this is not only going to give me those nice layers and the border, but it really improves how sturdy and thick this is. And so you know this will stand up well. I do want to incorporate a layering pattern, and once again, I'm really just getting right back into that stash. And so I'm just going to add this to the bottom, and this is going to give me a place to start layering up those stickers. And so when I use the stickers from those 12x12 sheets, I know that they're a little bit thinner, and so I will always attach them to cardstock first and then cut them back out so that when I stack them up, I'm not getting lumps from all of those layers. And so I'm getting a nice kind of even looking display. And so first I want to start with this beautiful little floral with the poinsettia and all the branches. And then I'm going to add some additional layers, stack them up, and organize them in such a way as they are making just kind of one pretty little cluster. And so I have a stamp, and that was part of the border. Also have a little package here. And so these are just going right on top of each other, but we're not going to get those lumps. And then the last little detail is this little snow globe with the tiny house inside. I just want to make sure they got that on pretty straight. And then last but not least is going to be an additional sentiment. We have one for the front, but I also want to add one here, and this kind of brings this whole little sticker stack together. And so I just want to place that kind of going over some of the stickers and then down on to that pattern paper. And so when we have this folded, you'll be able to see all of this showing. Now we're going to move on to this portion. And so this will be the front. And it'll be much easier to work on that front portion if I fold this flat and keep this much closer to myself so I can see over it. And so I'm just going to be repeating that combination of the red for the card stack and then that neutral background. And this is going to help me to be able to stack all those details up and keep it from looking too busy. And just like on the base, I do have a layering pattern. It's the same sweet little trees. And I'm going to take advantage of the border that we already have there from our base layer. And I'll just add that. I'm just going to set this aside for a moment, and I'm going to bring in our little mittens or oven mitts because I am from Michigan. I do see these as being mittens, and I have cut the layering pattern with the sweet diagonal stripe, and then I cut my base with a beautiful red glitter paper. And so this is going to help all those layers really pop, and it also gives it a nice little sparkle. Now I'm going to offset these layers instead of stacking them directly on top, and I'll just use a little bit of hot glue to attach these. Of course, this is a glitter paper, difficult to get anything to stick to it, so you really want something to permeate that texture and get down in there so that you can get these well adhered. And so I am going to just add that and then squish this down into those layers. So you can see that I also have put these up on spacers. And so I'll do that for this as well. I picked up this nice big roll from Hobby Lobby. It does wind up to be a better value than the ones at the Dollar Tree. So if you are there, you might as well pick some of these up and utilize them to get all of this nice depth and dimension. So I have all of these now ready to assemble. I'm going to work these in and out as I'm going along because I want to make sure that there are perfect placement for all of these details. I have a lot going on here, and I want to make sure that everything has the right spacing and the right time to go in so that I get all those layers that I want. Now, remember I said that I had the Snowflake Bow die set, and I am just cutting the snowflakes for this project with that. And these are going to have to go on to the back. And they're pretty fragile, and I don't want these up on top of the layer so they get damaged. So I know that I want the two larger ones all the way toward the outside, so those are easy. I'll just put a little tombow there in the center. And then put those as far out as they will go while still remaining on the pattern paper. I have one for either side. So now I want to take my 3 little mittens and space them where I think I want them to land. I have a detail that's coming in that requires these to be fairly close so that I can attach something to them, and so they will support that when it's popped up on the layers. So my final 2 snowflakes are going to go here. And I'll adhere them in the same way I did the others, but I want to just push these down so that I don't lose their placement. And so these are really just going to be part of the background detail. Now for my mittens, remember that I have these up on spacers. So these will be easy to attach, and they're really going to bring that depth. So let's get these attached. So I know I want that first mitten to go in the middle. I'll put that one down first, and that will help me to adjust the spacing on either side. So let's add this one. Remember, I have that little detail I want to attach to the mittens. And so these have to be pretty close, and I am just going to attach those at a little bit of an angle just to be a little bit more interesting. And so here is my arrangement of the mittens. And you can see how that red glitter paper border really helps those to pop. Now I do have some of the bows that were part of the oven mitt die set, and I created those with layers of pink so that I could get an additional depth there. And I want to have these attached so that we're creating a banner, and these will all be kind of flowing together. And that's why I needed these to be close. So let's put a little tombow on here and stick these bows down. That tombow will work into the glitter paper. And so these will be well secured. While that glue sets up, I'm just going to continue to work along, and I have already kind of previewed all of these layers, so I know what order I want to put these in so that I can build up that depth and dimension. So I picked a couple of the ornament stickers from that Mix and a Mingle sticker sheet, and I think that retro kind of blue and green is really working well to accent the pinks here. And I want to drop this in. I'm not pressing it down all the way because I'm just kind of previewing the exact placement. Add this one to this side as well. I've created a couple little flower arrangements from the poinsettia that was in the Santa Boot mini album set. I'm just going to place those there as well. I'm still kind of working along for the arrangement so that I get everything placed exactly where I want. And I created some beautiful little bows here with some super thick red and white striped butcher's twine. And so I'm just going to fold these loops together, and then I'll add a little bit of my hot glue here and add that to the card. Remember, we have the spacers behind the mittens, so when I add this trim, this is going to help support the other side of my flower arrangement, and that way I'll get it to be a nicer, flatter surface on the top. And I'll just go ahead and clip those ends. Now I'll repeat that for this side. One more time, move those flowers up so that you can tell where everything is going to land. I see here that I'm going to have to just clip a little bit of the edge off of this so that I can get it worked up underneath that mitten. So let's just clip that off. Now I know where I need it to fall. And so I'll press that into place. And the same for this one. So these look like they're hanging from that pretty twine. I have one last detail to add to the back of those flowers, and those are more of that little stamp like the one that I added to the inside. So I'm going to attach this to the back of my flowers. That way I'll get my spacing exactly where I want. And then for this side, I can just go ahead and add this now. I did add a couple little spacers to the back of the stamp just to keep everything level, and I'm going to add this with my hot glue. For this side, I do want to incorporate a couple of little charms, and so I want to hide that string underneath of that flower arrangement. So I'll just go ahead and add those before I add the additional layers. Same as for the other side, I do want to attach this stamp before I add those flowers, just so that I can capture that in between the layers. So now I've got both sides here with all of their embellishments on the outside. One last detail for the inside is going to be a couple of these little stars, and these came from that sticker sheet I'm going to add them to the top of my bows just so that I can bring that color in. I've got a little sentiment here, and this is going to go into this arrangement because I put an extra detail on this side with those charms. So I'm just going to add this and tuck it in there between the layers. I'm gonna hold it up so I can get it even. And then just press that into place. So when I finish the poinsettia flowers that were part of the Santa Boot mini album die set, I added some little sequins to the center so that I could give them a little bit of extra detail and dimension. So I'm gonna pick that color from my stash and incorporate a couple of little sequins over here as well. I'll add those with my tombow, and this is really going to help to bring some detail down to the bottom of the card. You know, it will be difficult to see when I fold it, but this is going to be absolutely stunning when you have it displayed because you'll see the bottom portion as well as the top. And so this is going to be all for my Mitten Banner Slimline Christmas greeting card. And I have created an additional card to share with you today, and I'm still using that oven mitt set, but this time I'm going to be using it as an oven mitt. And so I did have a sticker set from the Baking Spirits Bright collection. This is also from Simple Stories, and a couple of pieces from the foam stickers. And so I added my sticker stack here. And for those of us who also like to use ready-made flowers, I just incorporated a few of those into an arrangement here on the top, and then my favorite finishing details like some charms and buttons and sequins. And so I got use from this set for the different sizes, for different themes, and then I think this is a really cute way to make your own focal images and then get a lot of use out of your scraps and your sticker sheets. So I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Check in the description for links for Scrap Diva Designs website. I'll also add her Instagram so that you can check out all of the fun projects they are creating with these dies. That's going to be it. And as always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.